of paradigms.
Do you know what the status of women is in these villages? No mother would not like to feed her child. And if these fortified biscuits and atta and everything is available, who will have the money to go and buy it? It's the poor who are malnourished. The group knows it. If I can say from the 3 people I met, the group knows the issues. But this presentation doesn't say anything.
I think we are slowly converging very nicely into where we need to go. But there is a lot of depth definitely required.
The second space is this space of stepping back from the mess, retreating from the problem situation, and getting quiet enough so that a deeper knowing can come to the surface.
The second phase, presencing, takes the lab team on a retreat in the Himalayas. The central part of the retreat is the solo. 3 days and nights living in nature, completely alone, with only water and minimal food. No cell phones, books, diaries, or distractions. Only nature and themselves for inspiration and company.
It makes people very aware of what they're afraid of and maybe what's holding them back. Dealing with an issue like child malnutrition in India is no light-hearted thing, and if all of us aren't committed to push ourselves forward in order to help the issue, we're very unlikely to make a dent in it. So I think it's tuning people into the in a way the commitment that's needed.
The shared experience of the solo brings the group closer together. A group of individuals from different sectors begins evolving into a team, a collective.
I was chanting Om Namo Shivaya, Om Namo Shivaya, and I got sleep. But where that animal came down, I don't know. I think it was a pig or somebody.
It's been a major breakthrough for me that I could do a solo without fear and respecting silence. So I think I can take any risk in life.
I felt I wanted to get out, I really wanted to get out. I loved my 2 days there and I loved my 1 day here, It was complete. It was very satisfying, very enriching, and I have no regrets, I don't feel guilty about, not being that woman who made it in the jungles for 3 days.
As I became quieter, I had a sense that the beauty of those ideas was so profound that perhaps they were coming from some place beyond the mind,
Today, it's 25th day, so that's great. But on the 50th day, I won't be happy to say the same things again, that what I learned about myself. So let's get very specific and particular about the purpose. Let's do something very fruitful now. Thank you.
Breakfast time.
It is finally time for the third phase of the process, the phase of realizing. The learning, sharing and reflection of the last 6 weeks now coalesces, creating the seeds of new initiatives.
I think we can develop a system to track the whole area of malnutrition by using central database.
ट्राई पार्टनरशिप्स के बारे में हम सब बोल रहे हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि फोर्थ होना चाहिए, कम्युनिटी इज द मिसिंग।
एएनएम और आंगनवाड़ी वर्कर, उन दोनों को ही आरोग्य सेविका, आरोग्य दूत कैसे बनाया जाए।
It should be a circle basically.
The team moves between defining focus areas as understood by the group and aligning institutional and individual interests so that one understanding constantly enriches the other.
तो जो उत्तरांचल में सवाल पूछा था कि what should our focus be as a group, right? पूरा भविष्य अलायंस का फोकस पूछा था। अभी जो क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है वो पूछा जा रहा है कि आपके दिल में क्या है।
Many times what happens is on the basis of our knowledge and information, we have easy solutions. This is a disease, this is a vaccine. This is a disease, this is a treatment. But then there are multifactorial conditions which are there, like malnutrition, like hypertension, like there are so many conditions in which you cannot pinpoint one cause. And there are hundreds of causes. And then in that situation, you know the problem. You know that there are various solutions, but you also know that none of them has worked 100% efficiently. And in that case, you require something more than the knowledge, what you have got. So maybe that collective wisdom idea of the U process, that everybody's idea is important and together we can make a difference.
Four groups brainstorm to develop ideas into initiatives.
If you have a good management information system, then you actually know what actions you have to take. You know, it might not directly address malnutrition, but it addresses malnutrition in a very critical way.
Let me clarify now. If you have a mind block, I don't have a mind block. I am only trying to put it in this format. You please tell me so that I can be able to.
हमारा यानी इनिशिएटिव यही है कि सब एक होके एक गोल पे काम करें, तो कम्युनिटी साथ में स्ट्रेंथन हो। ऐसा नहीं कि एक को स्ट्रेंथ मिले दूसरा वीक रह जाए, ऐसा नहीं है।
What we are actually thinking is to develop a cadre of village youth who will be working as change agents in the community. It's a long-term activity.
Because of the consistent migration from the rural sector to the urban place, there are so many unrecognized slums where the government has not been able to reach. We can make those unrecognized children visible.
With the first draft of their initiative ideas, the lab team prepares to co-create with the communities. They look for partnerships and feedback from local bodies as well as champions. On the basis of what they hear, they further develop the seed initiatives.
Ensure that the people you want as partners will genuinely be your partners and not just people you sell ideas to. And you have to convince them and convince them.
The teams leave for the field. And they return from their consultations with newer, harder questions.
Do we really make a difference in the community? Because I'm also a person with a development background. And I've seen we have done harm.
Why we need to go to community? Because a social obligation where we are at a better educated, learned person to help my countrymen who are unable to see for themselves.
That needs to be demystified. We are not helping them, first of all. Second, much more knowledge is there, lying there.
Let me tell you, it's all driven. It's NGO driven, it's government driven, it's UNICEF driven, it's World Bank driven.
The whole question is, what are we doing?
The teams emerge from the upheaval of these questions and learnings, iterating their initiatives. They clarify some ideas, abandon others. After 11 weeks of arguing, traveling, learning, unlearning, and constantly reformulating project ideas, the teams prepare for their final presentation to the champions, many of whom have been constantly involved in the process.
As we all know, the unrecognized slums have no ICDS centers, have very limited health post coverage.
The teams present the unified vision that has emerged from the lab and outline their initiative ideas.
There's mass level of community awareness, and next we see a community ownership. We are proposing.
Then, the champions plunge in to figure out the best strategies for moving the initiatives forward.
I like how you've also organized it in terms of high impact and then in time frame, so that you recognize that there are some things that need to be done in the longer term, but
they work through the pros and cons of each initiative, considering everything from funding to communication strategy. New ideas and energies grow, iterating the initiatives further.
You said that malnutrition is not a priority in the intervention areas, amongst the community. So what is going to be your entry point?
These teams didn't have time to sit together to say, look, what do we have in common? ICDS was mentioned in every single proposal. Every single proposal. So there are common elements that we have to lift out and make this visible here.
It is a significant moment of what has been an unpredictable journey, demonstrating the challenges of any process that seeks to create change on a large scale. The Alliance has transformed from disparate groups working in silos to a creative collaboration of people willing to experiment, suspend judgment, listen to each other.